Hey! Welcome to MOATCRAFT, where engineers don't just ship code, they ship change. This is the first of our new series of sessions where fantastic software engineers will work through product ideas in real one-to-one discussions with me. To introduce myself, I'm Oana. I've been a founder and product leader for more years than I want to remember. And since I left Meta, I spent my time coaching over 500 product leaders to think more strategically about what they build. Today, we're kicking off a thought experiment. Imagine you've built a complete backend and front-end coding framework. It's not an easy overnight tool to spin off, but then what do you actually do with it? What's the hook? And most importantly, what's the moat to turn it into a real defensible business? If you want to build something that lasts, you gotta think about what is the unique reason why people will pay for yours, especially when the development frameworks are usually free. And guess what? AI won't save you here. So before you go and spin up another AI wrapper, let's talk moats, leverage, and how to play smarter to actually be able to build a business. If your brain's already buzzing, hit like, pass it to a fellow developer and subscribe. Because MOATCRAFT is where builders learn to identify what deserves to be built. And trust me, the game is just getting started. Today we have Toby with us, and I would like to ask him to introduce himself. So, Toby, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are in your career, what's going on in your life?
Of course, yeah. So I'm Toby. I'm a full stack developer from Sweden, and in my career, I have been part of a lot of startups, and now I am trying to get something off the ground myself.
Amazing. And I'm guessing that you were attracted by this session for a reason. So what are you hoping to get out of the discussion today?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I have a startup that I want to get off the ground in the web development area, and yeah, I hope to get out some strategic plans for how to make this a viable business for myself.
Exciting. I know you have a lot of ideas and you've been trying to do and doing a lot of interesting things. So I'm excited to be part of this as well and to share this with our audience. That being said, how about we get started? Can you tell me a little bit more about the idea that you have and what you've been kind of working on? What are you trying to get off the ground?
Yeah, so I guess this is a little bit different than normal startup ideas in that I have taken over a somewhat abandoned project that already had some customers. So I already had customers, but just a few and not enough to make this sustainable. So the project that I've taken over, or the business, if you will, is a full stack web development framework called Redwood JS. That project, like I said, has been abandoned or they have pivoted and renamed. So I took over the old code base. I forked it. I renamed it to Cedar JS, and Cedar is now my full stack web development framework for anyone who wants to be able to, on their own or with a very small team, build, for example, a software as a service business or any other project that needs both a backend and a front end, and ideally would use the same technologies across the stack to make development as quick as possible.
Okay. We'll take that as it is for now, but we're going to look to redefine the whole problem space and the whole message from scratch. Okay. So I'm going
Perfect.
to share my screen and I'm going to be making notes as we chat.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. And correct me if I'm writing something that, like if I might misunderstand something. This is also
Yeah,
very
of course.
technical. I'm not personally very technical. I can understand to a certain extent. I'm not a full stack web developer myself. Oh,
Okay.
I'll be asking you questions based on the analysis framework that I use and that I shared with you. And we're going to start, first of all, with the strategic landscape, mapping out the strategic landscape, understanding what's happening in the market now, and what could be headwinds and what could be tailwinds for you. Okay?
Sounds good.
Let's start with tailwinds, because it's more positive. What's happening in the market, or maybe what strengths do you already have that you can leverage?
One thing I can leverage and that I'm already leveraging is, of course, my existing customers.
Okay.
I am consulting with existing customers to get funding for the project. And every existing customer I'm already talking with, they're of course very happy with the framework they have chosen, and they can help evangelizing.
Okay, sounds like you have a good starting point there. And it's something that you want to remember throughout the discussion, what you've been talking with these customers. And maybe if you haven't been talking with them on the topics that we're going to approach, you're going to want to talk to them. Okay.
Yeah.
What else would you say are tailwinds?
Um,
You can think of the market, the trends, the other strengths that you may have.
Compared to other full stack development frameworks, we have very strong documentation, tutorials, they're just learning materials. And companies have repeatedly said that they really appreciate, especially our tutorial, because it's a great way for them to onboard new developers to their teams.
This is great. Anything else that you can think of? You have to think about everything right now, by the way.
Yeah.
You're gonna take this away and be
Yeah. So
more.
one thing that is both a positive and a negative is one of the technology choices we have made, and it's the way that the backend and the frontend communicates. It uses a technology called GraphQL,
Okay.
and this was super popular when the original Redwood framework started 5-6 years ago, but it has since been forgotten about almost, or like people are not talking about it anymore. People are not excited about it anymore. But like if when I talk to my existing customers, it's consistently the thing that they point out that they like the most about the framework. It's our unique GraphQL implementation,
Okay. Well, I
and
see this.
it's graph with a G
Oh,
to
sorry.
start.
Yeah. My typo. Yeah. That's what I want. I heard of this. That's why I was intending to write typo. Okay. So from a headwinds point of view, what do you see as potential headwinds building?
Yeah, so let's mention GraphQL again then, since it's not popular. I saw someone posted a poll just yesterday on X, Twitter, asking about uh, communications between backend and frontend, and people just don't like GraphQL anymore. They prefer the more common REST way of communicating.
Okay. What other headwinds? A
Uh,
lot of competitors.
I have a lot of competitors, crowded definitely, and another thing is that I'm doing this on my own. We used to be a team of like 5 people, and we struggled to keep up. And now I have to keep up on my own.
Okay.
The positive is that I already have a strong foundation with
Mhm.
the framework that I took over,
Okay.
but it's difficult to develop things in the as fast as I want.
Yeah. Um, from a trends perspective, is there anything that works against you, or maybe maybe favors you? We didn't put anything,
Um,
any market.
yeah, so the only thing I can think of right now is going back to GraphQL. And I So I'm talking to one company that are potentially wanting to sponsor me long term, and they are in the GraphQL space. And they say that even if it's not in the zeitgeist right now, people are not talking about it on tech Twitter.
Yeah.
It is growing um, with larger companies in the enterprise market. It's growing like crazy, and they can't keep up.
Okay. That's encouraging. And by the way, don't listen to everything that people say on Twitter and stuff like
Of
that.
course.
There are always people against, and if there aren't people against, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So
But this is also another, uh, like, I guess, tailwind for me. And it's that GraphQL isn't so popular. So
yeah,
if we narrow down
absolutely.
the market and look at full stack GraphQL framework,
Yeah.
uh, I'm I wouldn't I'm hesitant to say the only one, but definitely one of very few. So that part of the market is not at all as crowded.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It can be a tailwind. So let's see how we're going to think about all of this and start narrowing it down to figure out who you should really target and
Yep.
what they actually need. Okay. And for this, I'm going to ask you to get a bit out of the solution, outside of what you have already. You can think
Yep.
about the customers that you have because they are the best signal that you have right now. So when you answer questions, think about the customers that you have. And you can also think about, I don't know, what you've read online, what kind of things you're aware of. And then after this session, you can do more research, and I strongly encourage you to do so. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So next step, stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders that are players in this market that you could either directly target or potentially partner with to drive your success?
Can you define stakeholder in this scenario? Because I'm used
Okay.
to stakeholders when I'm working for a company. I know who the stakeholders are, but
So if you look at the market, like what kind of
yeah,
entities would you be able to either target or partner with? So for example, it would be the software engineers themselves. It could be businesses, let's say SMBs, or maybe enterprise. I don't know.
yeah. So if we look at like the target market, definitely software engineers, probably someone who wants to be a CTO or or a founder.
Oh, founders, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So I see there
And
are different big figures that play in this market that you could either
yeah,
target or partner with.
and you wrote enterprise there. I would say probably like smaller teams within a larger enterprise in that case.
Potentially, but we're keeping it there because it exists. It's a big player. Maybe you're not going to target it to begin with, so we'll see. But
Sure.
yeah, it's good to have a good comprehensive view of who the players
Yeah.
are. Are there any regulatory entities that you have to be aware of and you have to make sure you include? Are there any, I don't know, other players that could facilitate or block your success that you can think of?
Not really. I do want to add one more stakeholder though, like thinking about existing customers from the old framework. I would say we had success with agencies
Okay. Okay.
because it was very quick and easy for them to spin up new projects, and that's exactly what they did with all their customers.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds very promising. Okay. So now, based on your experience with this product that you've been working on so far, and your experience with what didn't work, which is why this product was kind of sidelined,
Yeah.
and your current customers that are excited about this product and they want to keep it, which one of these stakeholders do you think it fits best to target?
This is difficult because we originally tried to target uh, founders or people who wanted to be founders. So that's where we found like the success that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, we didn't find as much success as we needed to make this viable.
Okay.
So maybe we need to look at something else this time around.
Yeah.
But that's like, yeah, traditionally that was the best stakeholder to focus on.
So the founders, the way that you are positioning this, the founders would have to invest and pay for this solution from the moment when they don't have budget to even be able to prove the idea. So maybe that's why it was harder to reach them. But then again, it is also possible that your messaging wasn't crisp enough. So it doesn't discard the validity for founders. What I would say is look at, like, do some research even after this session and see where you're getting more interest from when you talk about this idea, when you talk about the benefits of it. See what kind of stakeholder bites, who's more interested, and who would be willing to pay, I don't know, £500 right now, or I don't know, what kind of an annual revenue would you expect from one customer?
Yes, so we never did figure out how to monetize this.
It doesn't
We always
it doesn't matter. It's premature to say, okay, I this is how I want to monetize. Just look at like how much other options cost and what's reasonable, like a reasonable approximate price, and then add a bit on top of that, and then see who would be willing to pay that much for something like this right now.
yeah, because all the options are free, and so were we.
Okay, but all of those options are looking to monetize in some way. So look at their paid tier and what kind of an average annual paid tier do they have, and then add 50% to that when you ask the questions, because that will filter out the ones who are most willing to pay for your message. Even if you don't even if you don't end up asking for that amount, but it's just testing out the willingness, the interest in what you have.
Yeah, so when I look at my competitors in the larger market, they never have like this. Never costs anything. They always use a framework like this to drive traffic towards the other paid offerings
Yeah.
that people would use on top of this.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is how much money they make, like with the other offerings that you're talking about. How much money do they make? Do they expect to make per year? And then start asking these questions as if you would be charging, and see whether people are open to this, because that's where the blocker happens. If they say, yeah, this is really interesting, I would pay extra for this, then you have an interested group of stakeholders. Okay. But for now, we can either go, I don't know, with agencies or with founders, whichever one you want. We can we can narrow down the message. And like I said, this is not final. We're working on assumptions right now. But the point of this session is for you to get used to how to think about the analysis and then repeat it in your own time to get right answers.
Perfect. So let's go with founders then.
Okay, let's go with founders. Okay. And now with segment. So for segments, if you've looked at my framework, I like to use jobs to be done.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with jobs to be done?
No.
Not at all.
No.
So a job to be done is a progress, an outcome that the stakeholder founders are trying to achieve when they're in a given context. So
Yep.
I know you previously targeted founders that want to build SaaS companies, but
Yep.
the that could be a good outcome. Is this solution really filling that need? Because building a SaaS company is more than just the framework. So
Yeah.
you have to identify jobs to be done that the framework itself or the framework plus some additional features would be able to actually fulfill.
Yep.
So the SaaS intention was interesting, but too big to be solved with the solution that you're proposing.
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at some more targeted and some more narrow segments. What could founders want to achieve in their founder journey that this framework, or maybe this framework with a little bit of adjustment, could help in?
Yeah. So this will be pretty technical. Like the things that we solve are technical problems, and maybe that's fine.
Tell me about it, because and think about the following. These jobs to be done don't necessarily need to be functional. Like, I need to achieve this functionality or complete this task. They can also be emotional or social. And the emotional and the social ones are actually even more powerful. So for example, you could say you could be targeting founders who want an easy way to build their proof of concept and a network to work with to validate their concept. For example,
Okay. Yeah.
see, this is just one example, but we can write others. Okay, what else?
So yeah, let's say they want an easy way to uh, charge for uh, products online. They have something they want to sell, and they want an easy way to charge for it.
And why isn't, I don't know, Shopify or Stripe or any of the one-click implementation things? There are products that not only help me post wherever I want to post online, but they help me market it, SEO it, do all of these automated things for me to actually sell it online. So will this framework with a little bit of adjustment be good enough to actually solve for selling their product online?
So when all the things all the options that you mentioned is like options that I would consider be integrations with my framework.
But would you be able to build something that genuinely competes and differentiates from those? Like, instead of, I don't know, a half an hour that gets pretty much auto built on any of those?
So what I mean is that people would use this framework to help them build a custom integration with, for example, Stripe or with Shopify. They don't want to use the Shopify, like they don't want to use their pre-built things. They want to build something on their own with an integration.
And why would they want to build something on their own rather than using the pre-built? Because the pre-built things are the easiest way, right?
Yeah.
So why would they want to build something on their own to begin with?
Because the pre-built things, they don't offer the features that they need, that they want.
Like what?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's why they.
Well, that's where the gold is. Because if you can figure out the things that they don't get in other places, then you can bank on that potentially and say, you can do this stuff. And it will help you sell your products better or faster by using this.
Yeah.
So what kind of things could be there that you could do or enable that others don't?
All right. Yeah. Let me think about that and pick something else then.
Okay.
When they've gotten a bit further, they have users, but now they need, or rather, they know that they will have users and need a way to handle the users and user permissions and also certification and with roles and stuff like that.
Okay. No, I'm not 100% sure if this is differentiating enough because I don't know the technologies that are available in the market. But again, you have to think, like I said before, you have to think whether this is a differentiator that people would pay right now $500 for. Or the idea is, okay, is this something that is big and motivating enough and they don't have a lot of alternatives? Or maybe they don't have any alternatives that actually solve this. Okay. A good way to think about, to come up with jobs to be done is actually to think like the customer. So the way to think like the customer is you close your eyes and you start speaking in first person. I'm a founder. I'm in this situation. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm dealing with. You have to completely forget about your solution. Just think about like that space of building easily and identify as a founder, what is it that I'm struggling with? I'm trying to build easily, but what exactly is it that I'm trying to do that isn't working, that I could use some help with? So do you want to try this exercise now a bit?
Yes. Yeah. It sounds very difficult, but let's do it.
Well, that's the trick. That's the...
Yeah.
I told you I'll put you in some uncomfortable and different place.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
go on. So close your eyes and talk to me. You're a founder.
Founder. Just the question, because I keep just going back in my mind to existing customers or users that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
But I, of course, don't know how or why they landed with this framework to begin with. So I can only guess.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
can guess
good
for
enough?
now. You can guess for now,
Yeah.
but then you can validate because you have them already. So you can start talking to them and asking those questions so you get real answers.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can even imagine that you're one of your customers if it makes it easier. Right? You can imagine that you're one of your customers in the beginning of their journey and talk like that.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So yeah. So let's do that. Yeah. So I'm thinking of one of my customers. He's a
I'm...
sorry. Yeah. Perfect. I'm a very non-technical car mechanic, and besides working on cars, I also sell car parts. Because I'm very non-technical, I found a over-the-counter pre-built web store that I just added my products to, and I could start selling them quickly without any friction at all, basically. But now I have been talking with another company, and I want to start selling their products as well. And my custom solution doesn't work. I can't add these products to my current solution, so I need something custom.
There you go. So you've already uncovered one job to be done that isn't fulfilled by others. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, close enough.
So you can research and see what alternatives you have, because maybe this guy found you by serendipity and there are actually 100 other options out there. So you should research and see alternatives and choose something that has fewer alternatives and has a bigger motivation for people to want to pay for, even if they don't end up paying and the solution itself ends up free, but you will have to build some other things that they will have to pay for to be,
Yeah.
and what they will have to pay for will be linked with their job to be done. Because you see, none of these jobs to be done talks about the framework itself. It talks about
Yeah.
how it gets productized in a package that solves a need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I encourage you to close your eyes more often and imagine you're the customer. And when you talk to your customers, ask them these questions as well. And this is how you uncover the jobs to be done. And then start validating them that they have a big enough market. The alternatives are low or poor enough. And the potential customers are likely to pay because currently they're either not served or their alternatives are too cumbersome, and your solution is at least 70% more effective. Like it has to be really, really more effective for them to switch.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, we're going to work with this little list that we have here just for the purpose of today.
Sounds good.
You're going to have to choose one segment because you have to be very focused. Like I said, the SaaS, like targeting founders who want to build SaaS is very broad. As you can see, these are more narrow and they talk specifically about what those founders are trying to achieve and they're struggling with and could be a motivator for them. So which one of these, based on your best judgment of the market size, alternatives, motivations to pay, things like that, which one of these is better, like would be a better choice for you? Also consider your strengths, your network, where you have these better opportunities to go to market. So there are a number of factors. Consider your advantages as well when you make a choice.
Yeah. So I know that the network aspect was a driving factor in the success that we did have previously, because we did set up a network and it was very popular.
Okay.
But I personally don't have that. Like I have that network, but I don't have a lot of extra like new people to bring in, and
You can.
I don't have the connections currently.
You can build that. That's not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you start from a small concentrated network and then you can build from there. So out of these options, maybe you don't have the network for any of them, so none of these differentiate because of your existing network, but maybe they differentiate because of the alternatives on the market or because of the market size that is more appealing, or like there are other factors that you can use to differentiate. So which one would you pick?
Yeah, I would go with the first one.
This one.
Yes.
Oh, cool. I actually came up with an interesting idea for development framework.
Yes.
Lesser technical minds sometimes can be useful. I do encourage you to validate. So I'm going to keep saying this, validate. This is a hypothesis right now, okay? I have to be careful because with the network, like if you're building the network on the network effects, you need to start building the network from a cluster that has some sort of connections between them and leverage entering that clustered existing, let's say, micro network, and then keep going and getting into other micro networks. And that's how you build the network effects. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now that we have a segment, let's look at what kind of obstacles or pain points do these people come across, what happens in their world, because this will educate what kind of features you need to build to make your product marketable for this job to be done. So again, you're going to close your eyes and now you're going to imagine that you are this founder. You can give yourself a name if you want to, and you can tell me what you're doing right now to try to build your network to validate your concept and build something with ease and figure things out. You can tell me what you're doing right now, and then from that, you can extract the obstacles that you're finding in what you're doing right now. So go ahead, close your eyes, and talk to me in first person.
I am Max, and I am trying to build a small POC to validate an idea that I have. And I'm currently focusing on building the POC, and I'm evaluating what options are out there, like technical choices that I have to make. And I'm so exhausted because there are so many things to choose from. And no matter what choices I make, there are just endlessly more and more choices the deeper I go.
But what about validating your POC? Like you're trying to get that network to validate your POC. That's your biggest job to be done.
Yeah. So I like I said, I first want to build a POC to then
Fair
try
enough.
to validate
But
it.
but there are lots of options. You can just pick one and you can build your POC. But then the job to be done is having that network to validate the POC. Because the building, there are many options, like you said, and it maybe is not even worth the overload. But when you start trying to validate your POC, what happens? What is it that is blocking you from being able to validate it, getting those people to validate it with?
I struggle with finding the right people to talk to. I struggle with coming up with ways to connect. I don't know anyone who would be interested in anything that I'm trying to build a proof of concept for. So I struggle to find, like, I know what my ideal customer is, but I don't have anyone in my network. So I need to find them somewhere to talk to them.
Okay. And then next step, let's assume this is solved. Then you don't know how to connect with them, what message to tell them so that they resonate and want to try out your POC. And then what happens? What else? What other obstacles would you have?
Yeah. So now I'm like far off from where in my mind when I'm Max, the questions I have now are not relevant to the product I am as Toby building. So now that I have,
Don't worry about that. Forget about what
yeah,
Toby is building. Talk to me about Max. So stay
yeah,
in the Max frame of mind, because that's where you find the value, and you'll see what happens when you start talking to Max, who has these problems, and you start offering a complete solution. And that's where you monetize. You monetize by helping Max figure out his POC and his validation. Okay.
yeah. So now I'm in the space, or yeah. So I'm going back to being Max. I don't know how to uh, collect all the feedback that I'm now getting from the people that I've been connected to through this network.
And then what happens?
And I don't know how to take action on the answers that I'm getting.
Okay. So see, we're making a list, and this list you can enhance it, and I strongly encourage you to enhance it. But basically, for Max, if you solve these things, because the actual building framework is table stakes, is free, is a given, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you talk to Max, he has this pressure for him to validate, and he's finding it hard to find people to test with who would be part of his beta. Everyone wants people to be part of their beta. And it's hard to find them. And if you have, I don't know, 500 connections on LinkedIn and you're barely present on
Twitter, maybe you have somebody who's on GitHub, but are they really your target customer? So if you can solve this and help expose Max's POC to the right people in the right places and attract them and help Max communicate with them and interpret the feedback that he gets, then that's what Max will be more likely to pay for than the actual building framework. Because the building framework is getting commoditized. Okay? Do you see where I'm going with this now?
Yeah, so to me, it sounds like I can stop thinking about the actual framework. I need to start finding like different products around the framework and finding which one of those options would be the best way to grow
Exactly.
my framework. Yeah.
Exactly. You need to understand the founders and what they really need and they can't find right now that your framework can enable. And then you need to build some additional stuff around your framework to really solve for that need that they have. And they will pay to get that need solved, not for the framework. That's where you monetize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, in one way, I'm already doing this with my consulting for existing Redwood customers. So their paying point, what they're paying for is to have someone who is an expert at the framework that they are using, and that's me, and that's why they're paying me already.
Okay, but so that's about the framework, and you can also monetize that for these whichever founders you choose to target, but they're not going to choose your product because you're going to help them use the framework for extra cost. That's not going to be a reason why they're going to choose your product. They're going to choose your product because your product helps them with something that they need in order to like get in front of customers and build what they need to build. Okay, so this is the motivation, their motivation, and then you can nerd out on the framework on your own. But when you talk to them, you need to talk about their motivation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I've dismantled a little bit of what you've done so far, but I encourage you to dismantle it more on your own. Not going to go into solutions because I know you already have part of this build, but then you're going to have to figure out, like when you start building solutions, you're going to figure out which obstacles to address first in order to be interesting enough for the first customers, to attract the first customers, and then build upon that. So these obstacles that, like, as you solve them, you keep adding features, you keep adding and improving on the job to be done that you're solving for your customers. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. I will send you these notes, so don't worry about it. You're not losing the notes that we have. Yeah, I want to ask you, how does it feel? I have put you in some uncomfortable places. How does it feel? And I don't know, did you get what you were hoping for?
Yeah, thank you so much. Like you said, it was difficult and somewhat disheartening. Like, it didn't get the validation that I can't just keep doing what I'm doing. I need to find other venues for monetization. I need to start thinking about other ways, and that's also difficult to hear because I know that I don't have time for that. If I want to build a framework, like, I have to pause building the framework in order to have enough time to spend on the other things that would then eventually let me get back to building a framework.
Well, you can find a co-founder. I mean, you're a smart guy. I'm sure you know people, and you can find a co-founder to work with you on this.
Yeah.
I hope it's not too disheartening, but if you do this, this will be a lot more powerful to drive your success in the market.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, no. So what I did get out of this is whenever I get an idea or whenever someone gives or presents me with an opportunity, I will start thinking more about what this would enable for my potential customers,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
try to get that view of on the opportunity, instead of just focusing on what it can do for me and my framework.
And dig deeper into the customers that are interested. Figure out what makes them interested. What lies behind the small actions that they say, oh, I need to publish this in this way. But why? What does that mean for you? What is that helping you with? Right?
Yeah,
Figure out the bigger motivations that they have that are powerful enough, and why they choose to stay and pay you, or why others would choose to work with you and pay you. Okay.
yeah, okay.
Awesome. So I hope you're not like discouraged and ditching the project idea, especially since you might even get a sponsorship for it.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to news on how it's going. And
Yeah.
maybe by next week when you have the conference, you can get some validation, some early discussions, and go to your potential partner and sponsor with some facts and some ideas of how to productize it so that
Yeah.
it targets a job to be done and it can become a success with their support.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toby, for being part of this and being open and sharing your learning journey with others, because I know that others will learn from what you've learned today as well.
I hope so.
I know so. Thank you.
All right, that is a wrap for today's MOATCRAFT challenge. And remember, with AI, almost anyone can build. But choosing what to actually do with it, that's your unfair advantage. Now, if you want to matter in the future where AI writes the code, subscribe and stay sharp. And until next time, stay inspired.